All right, let's do this Hawaii project, a review project together. This is what your finished layers panel should resemble. We're just going to go through these and create them, looking at this as our guidance. So open up the PSD file, which should look like this already. We're going to begin with the Aloha part. So always go to home base, that's the move tool, letter V, or press the button. We're going to duplicate Aloha, so let's make sure I'm clicked on the Aloha layer. And we're going to hold down the Alt key, and your mouse sort of changes if you move it a little bit to a black and a white arrow, and then just click and drag and let go of Alt, and then repeat the process. Hold Alt, click and drag, let go, then let go of Alt. So that you've got 3 versions of Aloha all in here. Now we're going to put these 3 versions into one layer group so that they're all together. So let's hold down Control and click over here so that basically all of these 3 are lit up like so. Okay, we need them all to be lit up so that they're all in one group. Then we come down and press the folder icon in the layers panel, and that creates a group. We're going to call it Alohas and press enter. Okay, and if we expand the group, then we can see all 3 copies. And then let's go back to the instructions and take a look. So here you can see the front copy is just normal. Now it does have a little bit of a glow on it. So let's go ahead and add that glow to that front copy. So let's take a look and see. There we go. Front copy is here. Glows are created using layer styles. So that's the FX button in the bottom right corner and then outer glow. And we just want to have a subtle little glow. I would say maybe a yellow color or a white color would be better. So let's come here in the rainbow and find yellow and then go in here. It's going to make it a little bit of a lighter. It's a little hard to see. So that's what you would use size and spread for. Like the spread maybe a bit more here and the size a little bit less. Okay, so that there's a little bit of a glow there. All right, press OK and we'll see now we have that outer glow, and you can toggle on and off so you can see the before and after there. It's subtle, but it's there. Okay, so that's the first one. I'm just going to turn the eyeball off on that one while we work on the middle one. The middle one here, notice, is a shade of blue. Okay, and then the one behind it is all just shades of gray. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Let's go to that middle one here, which is going to be my Aloha copy. In order to change the color, we're going to use an adjustment. We're going to go to Image Adjustment. And then to change color, color is hue. So we're going to go to Hue Saturation. And from within here, to change to a specific color, you don't just want to modify the hue, because that's going to do weird things to the colors. See? We want to colorize it so it's all shades of blue. So we're going to hit Colorize and then come and find the blue shade that you want to use. And it doesn't have to be exactly like mine. Now saturation will make it more of a blue color if you pull it up. So decide where you want it to be on that spectrum of things. It's a little more purpley than blue for me, but all right, press OK. Now because we're on a smart layer, you will see this hue saturation below it. If this wasn't a smart layer, this would be destructive and it would just do it straight to the words. But we have a smart layer, so it does it this way. Okay, I'm going to turn that off. And now let's deal with the other one, which is in grayscale. This time I'll use the black and white adjustment. So Image Adjustment, black and white. That one's going to already do it. Now if you wanted to adjust how the black and white works, you could move some of these. Now it started with a lot of blue in it. So if we move those, we're going to notice a big change in the way those colors work because it has a lot of that light blue. So I'm going to make mine a little darker like so and press OK. All right, let's turn these 3 on and take a look and see if it sort of kind of resembles. Yeah, I would say it does. That looks pretty good. It's very similar. So that part is taken care of. Let's go ahead and collapse this down. And you might wish to lock it just so you don't accidentally pick it up and move it around by pressing the padlock. And now this layer is locked so we don't accidentally pick those up. Okay, let's go deal with the flower. So the flower here, if we look on our finish, there are 2 copies of the flower. But let's look at what the blue flower looks like before we copy it. So notice here, it's blue. It's got a bevel on it. We can tell because it kind of looks 3D. And if we look in the layers panel here, you can see we've got the regular blue flower. We've got the blue flower copy that has a color overlay that's changing the color. And then we have another copy over here that has a gradient overlay that's changing the color with a gradient. So we've got 3 of these. They all have a bevel, so let's do that bevel before we copy them all. Okay, so here's my first one. I don't know if I moved that one around. It looks like I did, so we'll scoot it down. And then we need to add the bevel. So again, that's going to be the FX button, bevel and emboss. We want that 3D kind of look. And you could adjust the amount a little bit if you wanted to, but don't go too crazy. We want to be able to tell that it's sort of got that 3D look about it. Okay, and press OK. Now, to duplicate, we hold down the Alt key while we're using the Move tool. Remember, hold Alt, click and drag. Okay, let go. Let's repeat. Hold Alt, click and drag. All right, so these are kind of where they go-ish. It's fine if they're not perfect. We've got them all in here. Okay. Now, moving on, we're going to leave the original blue one alone because that should just look like that. But this second one needs to have a gold color. We're going to get the gold color from the flower on the Aloha. So let's go ahead and hit the Layer Styles button to change the color of a picture. It's Color Overlay. And then I'm going to click on this little box where it says Blend Mode Normal, and there's a color box. And then I'm going to point to that flower. There we go. And OK. And OK. And so there we go. Now let's go ahead and take another peek at this little guy here. Notice this one is turned that way. This one is turned this way. So we need to mirror flipped this as well. So how do we do that? That's a transformation. So you're going to press Control and T for transformation handles. Right click in the middle of the transformation and flip horizontal to create a mirror image. There we go, much better. And you could overlap these or you could separate them, totally up to you. Remember to commit the transformation by pressing check mark. Okay, good. So we've got those. Let's go to the top copy. Again, this one has a gradient over it using the colors as well. And you could use the colors from the flower or you could use the colors from the picture down here. It doesn't matter. But let's go ahead and add that gradient overlay using the FX button yet again. Gradient overlay. Now when we come in here, it's going to have a gradient already applied. We don't want that gradient. We're going to create our own color system here. So just click on the gradient box. And then down here at the bottom, these are where we set our color stops. So right now it has a gray and a white. I'm going to click on the gray one. And if we go back and look at this one, you can kind of see we've got a linear gradient that's starting with kind of the same colors that are down here on this. See, it's a green, then an orange, then kind of a red, and then kind of a purple. So we'll just go in order. There's going to be 4 colors to this gradient. Okay, so here for the gray, let's start with maybe that bottom color. And I can't see that, so I'm going to have to cancel here because I need to move this out of the way. Okay, so here we go. First color stop, click on color. Let's take this color and hit OK. So we've got now the green at the bottom. Okay, now click somewhere over here a little bit to add another stop, just right underneath with the finger. Okay, and then click on that color box and use the orange and hit OK. Right, and then we're going to repeat the process over here somewhere. Let's get that red color. Yep. And then our white one is our last one. We're going to click on that one and grab the purple. And OK. Here we go. Now we're using those exact same colors to create that gradient overlay, pressing OK. And all good to go. By the way, if you had these backwards, you could hit the reverse button and it would flip them upside down. We're going to hit OK. And there we go. So now we've got it all done with the exception of this bottom part. And if we come down here, we can see we've got a circle. The background has been removed and it has a stroke, a big border around the outside edge of it. So first off, let's get rid of the background. So I need to click on my Hawaii layer. It is a smart object, so I would have to get rid of this background in one of 2 ways. I would either have to rasterize it so it's not a smart object so that I can erase the background, or I would have to mask the background. So there's 2 ways to do that. If you're familiar with masks, feel free to mask. Otherwise, I'm going to right click and rasterize this layer, grab a hold of my eraser and hold, and just choose the magic eraser. Okay? Now this is destructive. Once we do this, it's gone. So we have to make sure we like it or undo it right now if we don't. All right, so that looks fine. It's not perfect. There are some edges that aren't great, but for the purposes of this, it's okay. All right, now we'll add the layer style stroke, FX, stroke. We're using the orange color, so we're going to click on the color box, steal the orange color from within there somewhere. I'm not sure which orange color I used. And then I have about a 7 inside. That looks good. As long as it's nice and thick, that's fine. Okay, last thing is just to add our name at the top, and we're making it take a curvy path so that text is warped. It has that same gradient overlay. It has a black stroke and a glow. We have a lot going on here. One thing that we can do is reuse that gradient by copying that layer style. So let's go ahead and first off put our name in here. So I'm going to grab my type tool. I'm going to click over here on top of this. All right, and then type in my name. If I spell it right, would be good. I'm going to press Control A because I can't see it all, and choose a font that I like. And the color doesn't matter because we're going to change the color anyway. Size this down a little bit. All right, and I'm going to hit my check mark to commit. Then grab my move tool and move this into position. Okay, so right above this. You can also use your arrow keys, scoot it up or down. All right, so we've got that on there. Now we need to warp it, so I'm going to click back on my type tool, use text warp, style, and then we've got to figure out which one to use. And you could probably use arc because that's going to keep the baselines all the same. You just have to decide how much. And that'll be kind of up to you to eyeball. Okay? And if it needs to be moved, just press V, switch back to your move tool, use your arrow keys, and down, 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 down to make it closer to your shape. All right, finally, let's add that gradient overlay. And we can go steal that gradient overlay from this blue flower copy. If we right-click it and copy the layer style, and then come to our name layer and right-click and paste the layer style. It's way down here at the bottom. I don't think we can see it on the screen. I can't make it so you can see it. Well, yeah, there it is. Okay, so there it is. Now, I don't know if we have a bevel on this other one. It doesn't look like it has a bevel. So we need to get rid of the bevel. We need to add a stroke, and we need to add the glow. So let's come over in here and double click where it says bevel emboss. That's just going to open up the dialog box. We're going to uncheck bevel because we don't need it. And we're going to add the stroke. We just want a little tiny stroke though, and that stroke right now is that really big one. So we're going to make it maybe a 1. I'm going to do outside around the edges and black, like so. And then let's click the word for glow. So it switches over so we have the settings, and that way you can make some, make some adjustments to how big that glow is or how much you want it to spread. Subtle, but enough so that we can read it. All right, that looks good enough. And you can also, opacity is, you know, how see-through the glow is. So if you turn that up, it's going to make the glow less see-through, you know, so you're going to see it more. So you can adjust those a little bit. If you totally mess up your glow, just hit reset to default, and it goes back to like the most basic of glows, which aren't very noticeable. But, you know, up to you how you want to set that up. We just want it to have a little bit of a glow to it. All right, press OK. All right, I think that's it. We've got all of our alohas, our 3 flowers, our name over the circle. Yep, looks pretty good. So hopefully this review has been helpful of dealing with all of these layer styles, using some of the basic concepts from this first unit. I hope it went well for you.